Chapter 1921. Walker in the Netherworld. Deng Shintong checked his own database and compared the appearance with that of the giant man in front of him, but did not find any matching target. I didn't find any information about him. This person is most likely in disguise. Disguise? Zhang Yi tilted his head. Is this really necessary? As long as they enter the Devil's Eye together, their abilities will be exposed, and then it will be clear who it is. He would rather believe that the guy in front of him is indeed Colombia's hidden trump card. Cardiles and Canero cannot be the head coaches. These two have been active in the ocean field. I know their strength very well. Compared with the bishop-level aliens in Colombia, there are not many such characters. In addition to Brian, who else in Colombia is bishop-level? Deng Shintong said, "We know of another bishop-level alien. His code name is Adam Smith. But he is a well-known strong man, and there has been no news of him for a long time." Deng Shintong looked at the giant in front of him with his honest face with a smile, as well as his huge body, frowned, and could not connect the two people together no matter what. It shouldn't be him. Adam Smith would never change his appearance. He would not bother to do such a thing. Zhang Yi became interested. Oh, you mean there might be a bishop-level alien in Colombia, and he has been hidden by them for 3 years and has never appeared in the world. He thought this was a very outrageous thing. But Deng Shintong said to Zhang Yi in a serious tone, "It's not impossible. My dear Supreme Lord." Huh. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. "Are you serious?" Deng Shintong said, "Colombia was founded less than 300 years ago, but it has become the world's first-class power in a very short period of time. They have always been leading the world in military and technological fields. So there has always been a saying that they had contact with a so-called extraterrestrial civilization early on and obtained their technology." Zhang Yi became interested. "You mean they have been communicating with underground civilizations for a long time? Just like the Huashu Kingdom and the Qinling Dragon Clan?" "No, maybe earlier." Deng Shintong said, "Regarding Colombia, I know there is a mysterious military restricted area which has been secretly blocked until now. That place is called Abyss Number 51. All of a sudden, Zhang Yi thought of the conversation with Newton. Newton told a story that decades ago, Colombia sent troops and a group of experts to explore a deep abyss thousands of meters deep, and mentioned that they came into contact with mysterious civilized creatures. So early." Zhang Yi took a deep breath. "You mean this guy in front of us is very likely to have come out of that place? And we don't have any information about him, because this is his first time to participate in activities after returning to the surface." Deng Shintong smiled and said, "This is just a guess of mine." In any case, Zhang Yi was not particularly interested in this matter. There are too many people with secrets. He just wanted to know how strong this guy was. Instead, it was the penetrator who greeted Zhang Yi first. "Hun Dun, long time no see. We have all been waiting for you." Zhang Yi descended from the sky and greeted the people around him with his eyes. "Long time no see. I still prefer your old cowboy outfit." Zhang Yi smiled at Canero. Canero glanced at his arms. His whole body was wrapped tightly in armor, but it was an exoskeleton armor, as light as clothes and full of cyberpunk sense of technology. "The current outfit is more practical. I learned this from you." As he said this, Canero stepped aside half of his body and extended his hand to introduce Sharon over there. "By the way, let me introduce you. This is the person in charge of our operation, Sharon. Sharon Ron." Zhang Yi slowly read his name. Sharon raised his heavy palm and greeted Zhang Yi with a smile. "Mr. Chaos, I've long heard of you. It's an honor to meet you." The two did not shake hands. Unless the aliens are particularly familiar with each other, they will keep a sufficient distance when they meet for the first time to avoid being used by the other party. When Zhang Yi got the code name of Sharon, he had already used the intelligence system to search for it. This is a very unfamiliar god. The answer given by the intelligence system is that Sharon is a ferryman on the river Styx in Norse mythology. A minor role, not worth mentioning. This person is of my generation. He is low-key, really low-key. Zhang Yi felt more and more that this person was extraordinary. The popularity of the character Sharon is probably comparable to that of Chaos. Oliba walked towards Zhang Yi and the others. Chaos, did you bring the Spear of Longinus? He went straight to the point. Zhang Yi nodded. Of course. Odbo of the O family walked barefoot to them, holding a human bone scepter, and said in ancient language, "Now that everyone is here and the things are ready, let's go." His eyes fell on Zhang Yi, and he stretched out his hand to him and said, "Please give me the sealed staff. I need to use it to open the sealed door." Zhang Yi looked at the big black man in front of him and said with a smile, "I got this thing with great difficulty, so it's better for me to keep it with me. I will lend it to you when I need it." Seeing that Zhang Yi was unwilling to hand over the Spear of Longinus, Odbo frowned. "It's just a seal. It's of no use to you. Instead, it may bring you disaster. Why do you keep it?" Zhang Yi was shocked. This old black man knew a lot. But of course he would not hand over the things easily. Only when the things were in his hands would he have the initiative to distribute the spoils later. "Just leave it here with me. It's inconvenient for you to carry it." Odbo glared at Zhang Yi with dissatisfaction. "I'm doing this for your own good. People who don't know how to use that thing will bring disaster upon themselves. By then, the crawlers from the underworld will also target you." Crawlers from the underworld? Everyone was very curious about this term. Odbo explained, "Over the years, our AO family has been fighting against the ghost walkers. They are the apostles of the fallen demon god who voluntarily entered the dark underground world and abandoned the light. If we enter the sealed land, we will definitely encounter these guys." When Zhang Yi heard this, he thought that this old guy is something. He knew nothing about the Devil's Eye, so he turned around and focused on developing himself, letting the local native lead the way. Still can't offend him first. His attitude also became friendly. "Don't be offended, old man. It's not that I'm greedy and don't want to give it to you. It's just that the thing is too big, more than 200 meters high, comparable to the Tian High Pearl Tower. It's not easy for you to hold it. How about this, keep the things here with me. When you need them, just let me know and I will definitely give them to you." Seeing that Zhang Yi's attitude became kinder, Odbo's expression also softened. "In that case, I'll leave it with you for now. Don't think it's a good thing. Sooner or later you'll have to use it to reseal the demon." Okay. These natives were easy to deal with and didn't continue arguing with Zhang Yi. However, Zhang Yi still asked Odbo very carefully what the so-called netherworld crawlers were. Odbo explained to everyone, "This kind of thing has existed since ancient times. When faced with despair, weak creatures will put their hopes in gods. They may even succumb to fear and kneel down to the devil. The crawlers in the underworld are creatures that are attracted by the power of the devil and degenerate into becoming its slaves. Our AO family has fought against them for many years and has been making great contributions to protecting world peace." The AO family showed pride on their faces. Zhang Yi listened but was a little bit unconvinced. "Oh, that's it. Have the primitive tribes in Africa been guarding world peace all this time? If they really had such ability, then throughout its long history, Africa would not have been so poor and backward, and would not have been invaded and enslaved by other continents." There was a change in Zhang Yi's eyes when he looked at Odbo. He subconsciously thought that this guy was bragging. Odbo snorted coldly. "If you don't believe it, I have evidence here. We in the O family have kept the bodies of the ghost walkers." As he said this, he winked at the people behind him. Ao Guanhai walked forward and reached into a cloth bag slung around his waist to take something. Zhang Yi and the others stared at Ao Guanhai, and soon he took out a black object from his cloth bag. "That should be a corpse, dark and human-shaped." Ao Guanhai held up the corpse. "Look, this is the enemy we will face later. The ghost walker." "Ha!" A sneer came from Katie-less. He crossed his arms, looking disapproving. "Are you sure this thing is not the corpse of a baby? It looks no longer than my arm, and it's burnt into charcoal. You can't fool us with this thing." Ao Guanhai snorted angrily, raised the corpse in his hand, and said anxiously, "What do you know, outsider? This is the corpse of the Phantom Walker. We fought it ourselves." Katie-less waved his hand, signaling Ao Guanhai to shut up. He put his hands on his hips and asked with a smile, "You just said that you have been fighting with that phantom walker for a long time. If it is really a follower of the devil, how could you defeat it so easily?" As we all know, the era of great mutation has only been here for more than 3 years. Could it be that you already possessed powerful supernatural powers before that? Although Katie-less spoke harshly, Zhang Yi had to thank him for being his substitute this time. Odibio's words are too big. Do they have the strength to protect world peace for a long time? Odibio glared at Katalai's indignantly. As the name suggests, the Ghost Walkers are a race that has fallen into darkness. Their eyes have degenerated, and they are not adapted to the environment on the ground. Once they come to the ground, their fighting power will be greatly reduced. What's more, the witchcraft of my AO family is specially designed to deal with them. Katie-less covered his mouth and burst out laughing. Witchcraft? Haha. No matter how you listen to it, Odibio's words are not convincing. This is because of the difference in strength. Throughout the long history of mankind, there has never been any powerful country in Africa that dominates the world. What's more, now the Austin clan is a primitive tribe that lags behind human history. It was normal for Cartiers to be disrespectful to him. Not to mention him, Zhang Yi and the aliens from other teams were also considering the strength of the AO family. Bang! At this moment, a loud noise was heard, and the bone scepter in Odibio's hand fell heavily to the ground. His eyes were fixed on the still smiling Katie-less, and his look became vicious. An evil and terrifying aura lingered around him. That is the murderous intent released by a strong man. Even if he does not take action, the killing intent of the strong man is enough to make people feel thrilling. You look down on the witchcraft of our AO family, don't you? He suddenly raised the scepter in his hand and pointed it at Katie-less. Then I'll let you try it yourself. The shaman tattoo on his face suddenly seemed to come alive, moving on the surface of his skin. His skin was wriggling, as if there were black worms hiding beneath his skin. These black tattoos turned into runes and climbed onto the bone scepter. Then Odibio's lips moved, as if he was chanting some spell quickly. The smile on Katalai's face suddenly stopped. He felt a sense of crisis of death looming over him, about to devour him completely. Stop. At this moment, a loud shout came from not far away. The holy white light descended and stood between Odibio and Katie-less. It was Olib who arrived. He said to Odibio, "Chief Odibio, our coalition is about to enter the Demon's Eye and work together to seal the Demon King for the survival of mankind. We must not fight among ourselves at this time. Please give me a favor and let him go this time." Having said that, Olib turned and looked at Cadiles, his eyes sharper. "Your Excellency, Lord of the Ocean, this time you were the first to disrespect the AO family. Please apologize to Chief Odibio and the AO family, okay?" Katalai's had just escaped from the crisis of death, and a lot of cold sweat had already flowed down his back. He even felt that if Olibu had not stopped Odibio's witchcraft in time, he would really die here. He took a deep breath, concealed the unwillingness in his eyes, lowered his head and said, "I apologize. I was wrong this time." Seeing that Olib was mediating, the Junjing Church had to give him face. Odibio snorted coldly and struck the ground with his bone scepter. "If anyone dares to insult my AO family again, I will make sure that the devil takes his life." After saying that, Odibio walked away with his people. Sharon came over and patted Cartiers on the shoulder. "You saved your life." He still had a calm smile on his face. Katie-less glanced at him and said, "That guy just now wanted to kill me. You are the person in charge of this operation. Why didn't you take action?" Sharon spread his hands helplessly. "My power cannot stop him. The best I can do is avenge you after you are killed." Katie-less looked suspicious. "Even you can't stop him?" Sharon nodded, looked in the direction where the AO family left, and a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. The most primitive bone index of the AO family. Anyone who is pointed at will surely die once the witchcraft is completed. This is a secret that has been passed down for thousands of years, and no one has been able to crack it so far. Zhang Yi had been watching the show on the side, and only at this time did he ask Yang Xinxin and others, "What do you think of the AO family? Can we believe what they say?" Yang Xinxin said, "It's actually very simple to find out whether what they say is true. Just bring the body and do a DNA test. But right now, this is not the most important issue. Let's just see what they say." Zhang Yi nodded and said nothing. The situation is not clear, and he is not the organizer of this operation, so it is better to keep a low profile. Let's see what the people from the Junjing Church say. That's the rule. Whether participating in an action or attending a gathering, the initiator is always the one who causes the most trouble. Of course, the initiator often also has the most motives. After all, there is no gain without pain. The teams had just gathered together when such an unpleasant incident occurred, which made Olibo frown. He said to everyone, "Now that our people are all here, there are some things that must be made clear before we set off. In order to avoid any accidents in the subsequent operations, we are gathered here this time to go to the Devil's Eye and seal the Demon King Mammon. Once the Demon King is born, the whole world will become hell. At that time, all our civilizations will be destroyed. So this time, our Junjing Church, as the initiator, has gathered many top teams of aliens from all over the world to jointly carry out this important task that concerns the life and death of mankind." Of course, he changed the subject. In the place where the Demon King is sealed, risks and opportunities coexist. Entering it, we also have the opportunity to get great opportunities. I don't need to say much about this. Everyone here knows it well. So, no matter what conflicts there are among our organizations or individuals, now we must put them aside temporarily. Unite and cooperate to complete the sealing task first. Otherwise, it is very likely that due to personal reasons, everyone will be buried in the endless abyss. His voice became low and majestic. "If anyone makes trouble during the mission and holds others back, I swear in the name of the Cardinal of the Junjing Church that I will definitely punish them after I return. And other alien organizations must also join forces with the Church to punish those who sabotage the operation." After listening to this, Zhang Yi and others nodded and expressed that they had no objection. After all, no one wants to die there. Even the foul-mouthed Katie less shut up. But at this time, Zhang Yi thought about it and asked, "I don't know much about the so-called seal of the Demon King Mammon and the Walker of the Underworld. Since we are going to carry out the sealing mission together, please share the information about them, so that we can be prepared." When this was mentioned, the others also looked at Olibu and Odibio. No one knows what is underneath the Devil's Eye. At this time, Olib was silent for a moment, and then he slowly said, "In fact, we in the Holy See don't know what exists under the Devil's Eye. There are not many records about it in the Holy Scripture. It was a record written a long time ago, and many changes have happened in the long years. The most original version of the Holy Scripture, the Dead Sea Scrolls, is even incomplete today." Zhang Yi felt a little regretful and looked at Odbio again. "Chief Odibio, don't worry about what that man just said. I'm quite curious about the travelers in the underworld. Can you tell us about them?" Zhang Yi asked with a smile. Seeing Zhang Yi's good attitude, compared with Cartier's foul mouth, Odibio felt much better about Zhang Yi. As the saying goes, flowers need green leaves to set them off. Thanks to Cartier's. Saladin also asked, "Elder, I hope you can give us some guidance." Others spoke up, hoping that Odibio could tell them some important information. Odibio then spoke slowly. In the past, the Ghost Walkers were very weak beings. They relied on the power of the devil and sacrificed their souls to gain a long life. But the price they paid was eternal sinking in darkness. They can gain eternal life, but they fear the light. At that time, any agile adult male could kill a Ghost Walker with his bare hands. But now the world has changed drastically, and no one can say what changes have taken place in them. But according to legend, the Ghost Walkers are not the most difficult to deal with. When the devil's body is sealed, his soul will separate and walk in the ghost world. That is the most terrifying demon. According to legend, this thing is called Ghost Walker territory. Every time it appears in the world, It will bring drought, plague, and hurricanes, killing a large number of people, and thus reap the souls of mankind. In addition to these, what Odibio said became more and more mysterious, and it sounded like a myth. After all, the things that have been passed down from a primitive tribe to this day are not all true, and there are a lot of fabrications added by later generations. But one thing is certain, in the myths passed down by the Ao family, it is not very clear what is under the devil's eye. That makes sense. Zhang Yi said to Yang Xinxin and others, when the demon king Mammon was sealed, the sixth generation of humans had not yet been born, so all we heard were mythological stories. Be it Zhu Jiuyin, Mammon, or the demon king in shamanism mythology, they were all sealed by the previous generation of humans. If we want to see what the sealed place really looks like, we can only see it with our own eyes. There was little information, but everyone's determination to act did not stop. It has become a consensus around the world that there is a huge treasure trove underground. Fremon's trip has brought huge benefits to the countries around the world that participated in that war. This time, even though they knew they would face unknown risks, they still wanted to go in and take a look. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.